encourage, to tune in to leftists on YouTube and whatever streaming platform and follow them. Follow Crime Think, follow Submedia and these other outlets and stuff. But do the reading. Do the reading. If you want to have a voice on politics. You don't have to do the reading if you just want to sit and watch videos and listen or whatever. But you got to start popping off with, I got opinions, I got feels about this. Like, my thing is shut the fuck up unless you can, have done the homework and confidently know what you're talking about. Not just because it went over well in the last live chat and everyone thought you sounded really smart, because I got news for you. Everybody else in that live chat never read shit and don't know shit either, but goddamn they're impressed with the little bit of shit you don't know. So this is something I've been really focused on for a while. When we first started doing Punks for Progress, me and my uncle got on, and every week we just kind of discussed the news cycle for an hour or two, right? And then, this was kind of in the midst of when Gamergate was happening. People are familiar with that. This is kind of the early beginnings of the rise of the alt-right. It was already happening, and while we were in this sort of first season of Punks for Progress, I became aware of what was really kind of going on in that world. And I'd always been really fascinated by fascism. I'd been attacked by Nazi boneheads when I was young, and it stalked my house, and it was pretty traumatic, and I had a lifelong fascination with fascism. And so when this alt-right thing started burgeoning, I was instantly focused on it. And then they started rallying and doing rallies in Berkeley, and Kylie and I, we've been to them. When we went out and we counter-demonstrated against them. And so all my focus became about confronting fascism in the alt-right in America. And that was, most of the people who are subscribers to Punks for Progress, that's why they're here, is because we went to all these fascist rallies and shit. And I got in the face of a bunch of these people. But in doing all that, more and more and more, what my focus has become on is the importance of understanding how social media works, how it affects us all, mainstream media, cable media, whether it's your YouTube outlets or, if you're in the progressive sphere watching Turks or Majority Report or, Midas Touch or any of these leftist mafia people or any of that kind of stuff, if you're doing that, or if you're on the right wing, you're watching, Crowder or whatever, those assholes with Daily Wire. We are in a new era of how we ingest and interact with information and with media. This is new. The human species has never experienced this before, and none of us are experts, and none of us know how to do it. We're figuring this out as we go. Okay? So I'm not here to point blame or try to say you're bad, and you're bad, and you're bad. Unless you're a fascist, fuck you. You are at fault, and you are deserving of a lot of blame for the carnage and the shit that's going on. If you're on the right wing, you support fascism and you're a piece of shit. You are. You just are. You're either ignorant and brainwashed, or you're purposefully fucking knowingly lying and brainwashing and misinforming. That is the right wing. But it has gotten massive, and we're all culpable in allowing this to happen. Is kind of what I'm getting. And God, this is such a complex thing. It's like I said, it's going to be a series of videos where I'm going to dive into this. But let me give you some ideas of what I'm getting at. So first and foremost, I have a contention that most people won't like, but it's turn off the fucking live chat. Stay out of the live chat. Okay? Unless you want to go over to Twitch and your whole thing is about interacting with community, that is incredibly important. I'm not saying you shouldn't have that. There's a time and a place for interacting with other people in a live chat and having a discussion and bouncing ideas off of the community. And there's another time where you just shut that shit off and listen to the information that's being imparted to you. It always astounds me and amazes me how many people are only half-assed paying attention to the information being disseminated on whatever platform. But they're in the live chat, blah, blah. Well, I think it's blah, 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 blah. And I think, no, you're wrong. And I see it routinely. You did not hear what they just said. You totally misunderstood them because you're only half-assed paying attention. Now you're running your mouth. And you just judged another person for disagreeing with you. Which brings me to another thing. Fucking admit you're wrong. That's to everybody. Everybody. I do it. I'm going to proudly say, and even though I have the reputation of being the most hard-headed and stubborn motherfucker that ever lived, I have admitted, oh shit, you're right, I was wrong. I've done it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you fucking proved me wrong. I'm gonna say it. But I'm telling you, man, I think I'm the only one. Because leftists, liberals, right-wingers, it's like, if I said it on social media, I'm gonna back it till I die. Everyone is a goddamn expert. And you know what? You're not. Unless you can verify that you're an expert, you're not. And it's okay to not be an expert. Oh, it's, God damn it. Get out of the fucking live chat and be willing to admit you're wrong. Those are two huge, huge things that I think are, everyone needs to get like real upfront and get real critical about. Again, I'm not saying that don't ever do live chat. Like Twitch is fantastic for that. I don't see going to Twitch as a place where you go to get news. And there's a lot of people who do that. You can. There are streamers on Twitch where you can get good information. Okay. But for the most part, the culture there is interacting with everybody and talking to the streamer and having that interaction. Okay. My advice is do that once you've well informed yourself on the issue. Then go to the community live chat and spew whatever your opinion. We need to be able to do that. I'm not disparaging interaction with the community. But shut off the live chat first and take the time. And then, of course, if you're doing politics and you haven't read a bunch, you're doing it wrong. Every time, no exceptions. You do not have a strong foundational political worldview if you haven't read a bunch of books. If you can't define the isms properly, please shut the fuck up in a live chat. You don't know what you're talking about. And just because you can vouch the shit out of it, which is just basically ingest all the internet discourse and be so on top of all the internet discourse that you can then repeat it in such a way that seems like you're so well informed, when all you are is you just ate all the internet and are rebarfing it up. Which you can do if you have a foundational understanding to prop that up on. Take the time. Read things like Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations to understand capitalism. Read the Communist Manifesto. Read the Bread Book by Kropotkin. Okay, read some Lenin. Read the Mao's little red book. And I'm not saying you have to internalize all of it and embrace it and be a communist or be an anarchist. Like, just know what the hell you're talking about. And if you learned it from videos on YouTube, you didn't learn it. You know, as a student and a person with a master's degree, Kylie, how important it is to annotate when you're reading. How crucial that is to make sure that you actually do fully internalize that information and have a grasp on it in such a way that you can then reiterate it to someone else, as opposed to it just being a thing you looked at and then forgot. You're not annotating videos that you watched. And if it went by in 20 minutes, probably what stood out was the joke that you thought was funny, and then maybe one line about that person. Like, who's coming to my mind who I think is fantastic and everyone should watch their videos is Zoe Baker. This is a person who achieved a PhD. I forget him specifically, essentially anarchy. That's not specifically it. But, she has put out a fantastic book about the history of anarchism and how it relates today. Anyway, you can learn a lot from Zoe Baker. I learn a lot from Zoe Baker. But that's because I did the foundational reading first. And this is one of the reasons I appreciate her so much, is because, clearly she did the reading and she's bringing nuance to this subject that had I not read, I wouldn't pick up on. And that's just one example. So again, I'm not trying to disparage. Tune in to leftists on YouTube and whatever streaming platform and follow them. Follow Crime Think, follow Submedia and these other outlets and stuff. But do the reading. Do the reading. If you want to have a voice on politics. You don't have to do the reading if you just want to sit and watch videos and listen or whatever. But you gotta start popping off with I got opinions and I got feels about this. Like, my thing is shut the fuck up unless you can like have done the homework and confidently know what you're talking about. Not just because it went over well in the last live chat and everyone thought you sounded really smart, because I got news for you. Everybody else in that live chat never read shit and don't know shit either, but goddamn they're impressed with the little bit of shit you don't know. Okay, so that's just little bits and pieces. And you know what I think I'll do is I'm just going to quickly kind of go over the outline that I have for the first video. So what I just gave you is a ranty, angry overview of what the series is going to be, and it's going to be a little more focused. So than the way I just described it there. The first video, okay, I'm going to do one video which will be the introduction to media literacy. This is what I'm going to try to impart. My opinions on how to be properly media literate, okay? Then I'm going to do other videos. Like, I want to tackle, there's a big issue within the punk rock community about a lot of people who are like my age and a little older that got broke by COVID. Like, just totally fucking, they think they're all anti-government, whatever, and they're out here spewing full-on sharing right-wing, like, you know, person comes to mind is John Joseph, the original singer for Chromax. That dude has fucking, he can't find the plot anymore. He is routinely sharing anti-trans and right-wing, full-on right-wing fascist stuff, and then talking about, I'm not right-wing and I'm not politics, and believes this, right? But he thinks that he's the true punk now because he's anti-government. And this is a sad phenomenon, and I think a lot of millennials and Gen Zers are looking at old punks and going, fuck you, boomers. And it bothers me because I see punk rock foundationally as a leftist movement from its inception. It's a Dadaist, anarchist, anti-authoritarian movement. It's not just government bad. And so I'm going to do a whole video on, I'm going to address some of these more prominent figures within the punk rock community that have gone this way and why I think they've gone this way. Like, to me, it makes a lot of sense that they did it. And first and foremost, it comes from this notion of, this is another thing that is a recurring theme through this series, will be, you'll hear a lot of people say, even in progressive media and leftist media, you got to shut off the mainstream media. Stop exposing yourself to all this garbage. I fundamentally disagree with that completely and wholeheartedly. I used to espouse that. And there was a long time in my life where I actually did do that. Okay. Basically, when the OJ trial hit, my news channels became inundated with talking about OJ all day long. When I went there to find out what's going on in Washington, so I turned it off. I stopped watching and started paying attention to mainstream media. And then 9/11 happened, and I was like, shit, I don't understand how this could happen. I need to start paying attention. That began my long now love-hate relationship with news media. But this notion of you got to turn off mainstream media, wrong. You need to be paying attention to what mainstream media is saying because millions and millions of other people are paying attention to mainstream media and they're formulating their opinions, and then which translates into the way they interact with you in this world is based on those things they heard from mainstream media. I'm not saying you need to sit around and watch MSNBC and Fox News for hours and hours and fuck your brain all up with that shit, but be well aware with what their line is. You know, a great way to do that is to sub everything on YouTube. So you can look in your subscription feed. When a news story hits, you'll see, okay, this is what MSNBC is saying. This is what CNN is saying. This is what the Young Turks are saying. This is what the Blaze is saying. This is, right? Man, and then you pick the thing that, like, okay, now that I have an idea of where they're all coming from, maybe you'll pick one of those to hear further analysis or whatever, right? So again, I think those are three of, I'm in the series, I'm going to do one on why did a bunch of old punk rockers become fucking totally broken in the brain from COVID.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And I want to address the Anna issue. Everyone in the YouTube polysphere, political sphere, is all up in arms over Anna's shift. Okay, so I have some very specific opinions about what's going on there. A lot of people are saying she's moving to the right. I don't think that's accurate. Okay, first and foremost, she doesn't understand capitalism. If you don't have a proper understanding of capitalism or a proper critique of capitalism, you're going to make really bad decisions, and you're not able to actually properly interpret the language of news and politics, because all of it is directly affected by the powers of the capitalist ruling class. All of it. And if you're not aware of that, and Anna's not, it's going to fuck up your analysis. Now, I think Anna is shifting towards really what is more a centrist position. I don't want to get into it too much now, but I think what she really thinks, one, she thinks that because the Young Turks are the biggest sort of quote-unquote progressive outlet out there, that they set the tone for progressivism. I think Cenk believes this to a certain extent too, but not as much as Anna, and it's definitely gone to her head. So she thinks, well, if I said it, it's progressive. Fucking, it's just wrong. And I think what she's doing, frankly, I'll just put it like this. I have no way to know this for any certainty, but I think she's waiting for her contract at TYT to expire so that she can go work for the Daily Wire and be the Combs to Ben Shapiro's Hannity. So if people don't remember, on Fox News, there was a series for a long time called Hannity and Combs, and it was supposedly the Republican conservative view of Hannity, and Sean Combs, the liberal. Really what Sean Combs was just the, oh yeah, you're right, turns out, conservative. Now, I don't think Anna will be that much of a mouthpiece. I think she'll be allowed to maintain some of her centrist liberalism. Again, progressivism and liberalism is centrism. It doesn't call for the end of capitalism. All progressives and all radical progressives still allow for capitalism to exist. They ultimately want to make compromises with it. Okay, so it's not much of a shift for Anna to be more centrist. But again, that being said, progressive and liberals' relationship to allowing capitalism fundamentally means they do have more in common with the right wing than they do with us on the left who want to end capitalism altogether. Right? So I think Anna saw that Steven Crowder was offered $50 million by the Daily Wire, and shit, really? So she's not going to do the why I left the left necessarily. I think she's going to go and co-host a show with Ben Shapiro for a few fucking $1 million and play the liberal role. Okay. But she's already shifting. Anyway, so I'm going to do a whole video on that. But again, it relates to media literacy. Okay? Like, I think that we as consumers, people who view that or are concerned about her shift, if we can be more media literate, we'll better understand why she made this shift. And had she been more media literate and, of course, had a better foundational understanding of capitalism, she probably would be making this shift. I don't know, that's arguable because I think that she says it on the show all the time. She daydreams about, expensive vacations in tropical places. And she's like, oh my God, which that stuff's wonderful and people should be able to do that. But she has a pretty serious preoccupation with it. And when you think about a dipshit like Steven Crowder being offered $50 million and you once taught journalism in a college, you're like going, what am I doing? Anyway, these are some of the videos I'm going to be doing on media literacy. And that's kind of an introduction to where my head is on. I guess the 3 bullet points being, stay the fuck out of the live chat. Just get the fuck out of live chat unless you know what you're talking about already. I forget what my other ones were.
Read a book, I think it was, or pay attention to mainstream.
Have the foundational understanding. Thank you, Kylie. Have foundational understanding. Do the reading. Once you've done that, then expose yourself to a broad swath of all the media that's out there. And lastly, just stay the fuck out of the live chat until you've actually kind of done all of that and have a firm grasp on the issues. Then you can share your shit with the community. So anyway, there we go. that's my kind of introduction. I have the first video. I started on the script. I have the outline. I'm working on the script for it. So keep an eye out for that. And as it, when we see these videos start coming up, we'll talk about them here on the What the Fuck Report. But unless you have any questions about that or you want to talk about it, maybe we should play some punk rock videos and then see what's going on with SoCal Shannon. Bring her in here to talk about what's going on in Gaza and her efforts to get our homie Ahmed and his family out of Gaza with her GoFundMe. She raised a shit ton of money there, legit, proper, to help get this family out. And awesome. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other issues relevant to getting resources and aid into Gaza. And then we'll do a SoCal Shannon scene report, get you up to date on some local actions that you might want to attend, maybe some punk rock shows you want to go to. But first, let's play this here video from went and saw Fang this last year, back I don't know, September or something like that, I don't remember, in Sacramento, do the 40th anniversary of the release of their first album, Landshark, and I got some video from that. So this is Drowning from Fang, their 40th anniversary live show in Sacramento, and we'll be back with SoCal Shannon.
I actually live in the tendon line, and the streets are filled with maggots.
We know, Bob. It's okay.
Yeah.